So, Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Nope.
All right, let's get it. So what's up, everyone? We got next. We're going to kick right into it. So, Steven, let's start off with the breaking news. If you guys are watching the NBA draft, you probably heard of this, or if you've been on Twitter. But what happened with the Lakers?
So the news throughout the day, or from like 5:30 on, was Woj was tweeting out that the Lakers were going to send KCP, Kuzma, the 22nd pick, I believe it was, and Montrezl Harrell to the Wizards for Russell Westbrook. And then Shams was tweeting out that the Lakers were going to send, I think, Kuzma and Harrell to the Kings and potentially the Spurs in there for Buddy Hield, and DeMar DeRozan was going to go somewhere. I didn't even care about that one. I was more worried about the Westbrook one. I don't really care like with the better fit for Buddy Hield or for Westbrook. The Westbrook news, which now seems to be official according to everything I've seen, which I'm watching the draft right now and they haven't said anything about it. So I don't know if they don't know or what's going on, but apparently breaking news now is the Lakers and the Wizards have agreed on a trade that will send Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. He's going back home. Obviously, Westbrook is a UCLA guy. Yeah. I mean, I think it's been talked about for much of the offseason. It's been news. It's been which point guard are the Lakers going to get? Westbrook, you can get CP, Kyle Lowry, whether you can get Bradley Beal. Like, you know, what was the news that they were going to get? Or what was the point guard that they were going to get? Now they apparently got their point guard. And, you know, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I think Buddy Hield might have been a better fit just because like spacing would have been better and all that kind of good stuff. And like, he doesn't demand the ball. He's a good 3-point shooter, but I think they'll figure it out. You have LeBron, you got AD, you know, they'll figure it out. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
So my big thing, because I was talking to a friend earlier today about this hypothetical, I think LeBron can be the right person for Russell. He needs someone that'll be an alpha to kind of put him in his place, because when he was with KD, Russ got to run anything. When he was in Washington, you're just going to give it to him. Everybody in DC was hyped just to see Russ put up triple doubles and stuff. So then even when he was in Houston, it was kind of like James Harden had to take a back seat and stuff. But with LeBron, he's going to be like, no, this is still my team, but you can end up taking over, because he played with Kyrie. And I think Russ is another level up in like the alpha matrix than Kyrie. Like Kyrie wants to be like the head honcho, but then you have Russell Westbrook, who's like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, this is what I'm going to do. But I think it can help AD as well. I can imagine the amount of lobs the three of them can just do to each other. But I always talk about this because Washington is rehab central. Then you go win a ring somewhere else. Karan did it. Brendan Haywood did it. JaVale McGee did it. Nick Young did it. They all can do it. So I'm honestly going to prematurely say congrats, Russ. Like, if you mess this opportunity up, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Like, you rehabbed, and then they cut the contracts to make sure everything can work out through the money. And this is what happens.
I think you can definitely pencil him in for another triple-double this season.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
LeBron will chill on his.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like, they'll figure it out. Like, they're not like, you know, 3 22-year-olds, and they're all 3 different players too.
Yes.
I guess Russ and LeBron are closer to the same thing than anybody LeBron's played with so far. They're both point guards. Like, I mean, it'll probably cause some confusion, but again, it's LeBron's team. Russ and AD are taking a back seat. They've led their teams. They just want to win as many rings as possible now.
Yeah.
And Russ wants to get his. AD wants to get more. LeBron wants to get more. So, I mean, yeah, it'll be confusing. But if any one person in the league can figure it out, it's going to be LeBron. I mean, it's not like look at Brooklyn, for God's sakes. Brooklyn had 3 of like the same players.
They did.
And granted, they got hurt, but like, they figured it out. They were winning games. All you gotta do is win games. It doesn't matter if you win the game 50 to 49 or 150 to 149. It doesn't matter.
No.
Like, as long as you win games, like, that doesn't, like, nothing else matters. As long as you win a championship at the end of the season, that's all that matters. Like,
exactly.
I don't care how you do. I don't care if you play 3-on-5. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if the other two guys. I don't care if the other two guys on the team are you and I. Like, it doesn't matter. All you do is win games. That's it.
Yeah. So them three will try and figure it out, and then I think they probably need, just like in Brooklyn, you'll need to find that piece that'll give you threes. You don't need someone else that's going to be doing the same thing as Russ and them. If you can find someone that'll space the floor out to allow them to do it, you can't have someone that's just going to chill in the paint with everyone else, because AD and LeBron are going to be like, get the hell out of there. Like, what are we supposed to do? So if you can have someone that can chill on the outside and hit a three, like how Joe Harris could be, or even what Pat Connaughton could do for the Bucks, get someone just out there. So I think that Caruso could do it. Tucker potentially can do it as well out there, but they'll need to have just someone on the outside. I don't know if they can still get Buddy Hield with what they just traded, so that might be out the window at this point, but I think it is something that'll help. The other breaking news I want to go to for you. So what jersey are you wearing?
So people who know me know that I'm a Pistons fan, right? Like, obviously I love LeBron and I'll cheer for whatever team he goes to, but I became a Pistons fan back in 2001, I think it was. I saw them play the Sixers in an exhibition game. Didn't like the Sixers at the time. I didn't, just being a Pittsburgh fan, it was always just one of those things like, you got to just not like Philly. And I loved Iverson, just didn't like Philly sports whatsoever. So Pistons beat them. I was like, cool, I'll cheer for the Pistons. And it started off great. Like started off, it could not have been any better for me to like come into basketball and like become a Pistons fan and like go through that with them. They went to, I think, 5 or 6 straight conference finals. We got 1 ring out of it. We stopped the Lakers. That was dope. We had a dope team with no like legit, like all NBA, like, premier players. Shout out Ben Wallace, Hall of Famer. Shout out shout out Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton with the mask, Chauncey Billups, Larry Brown, Marquise, Antonio McDyess. So we got some, we had some guys, we had some
Joe
dogs.
Dumars. It's like, no.
Joe Dumars. No, sir. No credit for ruining the first wave of potential draft. But this is big. The Pistons with the first pick tonight got Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. I don't think there was ever a question that he was going to Detroit. I think on days like today, the day of the draft, much like with every draft, well, I guess primarily the NFL and NBA, is that's the only one that's really anyone cares about. There's always stuff like, they might end up taking so-and-so. And there was talks about potentially, there was potential like Evan Mobley. Like I wouldn't have hated if we got Evan Mobley, but I probably would have been a little pissed later on that we didn't get Cade Cunningham. But this is big. This is the best draft pick that we've had since Grant Hill back in 94, I think it was 94, 95. So I'm saying we because, we are Detroit,
He's Detroit again.
So I've never been there, but I'd love to go. So, Pistons, if you guys are listening and, if you guys want to throw some tickets, like we'll do a live show from there. Like I'll do anything. Yeah. We'll do. Yeah. So it's a big night. And a side note, have you ever noticed that when you're watching the NBA draft, like after picks like 3 or 4, I don't really know who any of these guys are.
No. They said it's a deep draft too, but I didn't really know much.
I think it happens every year. Like with the NFL draft, obviously we know like every pick.
Yes.
Like, there's guys who get picked in the 7th round, and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw him play 2 years ago. Like we know those guys, but like in the NBA, because there's so many guys who are coming from overseas or coming from the G League, who are going straight from high school to the G League or coming from like different leagues, overseas. Some of these guys we just have never heard of after picks like I said, 3, 4. Yeah. Now you hear them. Oh yeah, he went to Missouri State and you saw him play in the NCAA tournament one time.
Yeah.
Like shout out to Missouri State, but but like half these guys I've never even heard of.
No. So
Speaking of trades though, real quick, did you see what the Sixers offered?
don't tell me the Warriors trade.
Yeah.
Bro, that was I was
Actually,
thinking y'all really thought that was going to be a good idea.
I took a screenshot of it actually.
Because it was like
Yeah,
James Weissman.
The Sixers asked for Andrew Wiggins, James Weissman, the number 7 overall pick, and 2 future first round picks for Ben Simmons.
Y'all really thought you were getting all that after the season he just had.
Ben Simmons just had the worst playoff stretch of a superstar I think I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And his trade value, which was hovering a little bit until he didn't take that layup, it went down so fast right after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did. That was a disappointing one. But we'll let me just say the next upcoming, the picks that just happened. So Houston got Jalen Green, and then at number 3 you had Evan Mobley, went to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Toronto got Scotty Barnes at number 4, and then there was also a trade. So Indiana is sending the number 54 pick, which I don't really know what that is. Number 60 pick, don't know what that is, and 2 future seconds to Milwaukee for the number 31 pick, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It kind of is just what it is. Orlando picked Jalen Suggs at number 5, so congrats to him. And then OKC, one of its a bajillion picks, got Josh Giddey. And so what are your thoughts on everything, which it kind of was just the number 1 in?
Yeah, I could care less. I could care less that anyone else after number 1. We got Cade. We got the motorcade into the Motor City. Mm-hmm. So it's all good. And anyone who's going to be listening to this, I apologize if I sound like shit. I've been sick all week. Not COVID. I got tested.
Yeah, he had to tell me that.
Shout out to the negative results for COVID. My son got sick last week. And then my daughter got sick, and then I got sick, and then my wife got sick. So that's what happens when you have kids, man. Let me tell you what though. So it's hard enough. So this is just like a domino effect. It's hard enough to take care of yourself as a human. Yeah. Just like you, not even with a wife and kids, it's just like you as a human. It's hard enough to wake up and take care of yourself. It's hard enough to take care of yourself and then take care of a significant other, make sure they're all right, make sure they're good. You throw in 1 kid, hard. Throw in 2 kids, that's tough. It's hard enough to do that when everyone's healthy. And then you toss in when your kids are sick and they're my age, 4 and 2, they're just whiny all the time. And you gotta stay on top of medicine, and their nose is just like a faucet, and they just don't know, they're just wiping it on everything and everyone. And then it's hard enough to do it when that happens. But when you're sick and they're sick, it's just you have no energy. Else. You don't want to do anything. You don't even want to take care of yourself. Your kids are just the house is a mess. It just sucks. And then when you're sick and your kids are healthy, to try and take care of them, when you're just I just want to sleep all day. Yeah. But you got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who just got all that energy back. Bro, this has been the longest week of my life. It feels like, and we haven't been sick in a year. Shout out to masks for a little bit, for a few seconds, but
it has helped.
But yeah, it's just been a long week, but we're all good. But apologize for sounding like this.
No, so before we get into any of the crypto stuff, we want to just make sure that everyone sees her for 2 seconds. Shout out Trapper. And so now we'll
all right, yeah. We're gonna edit that out of this episode because no one cares.
So I want to thank everyone before we keep going, just for the ones that have subscribed. So we end up noticing there have been upticks, and then there's also a lot of people that are starting to So just as we always say, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then click those notifications. So once we hit 100 subscribers and then one of our videos hits 100 likes, we will be doing a giveaway, and I'll be giving away $100 in Bitcoin. And then also for our crypto segment, which we're about to jump into, whoever can come up with the best name for the crypto segment we will end up giving you $25 in Bitcoin. So make sure to just drop it below, or you can either end up DMing me or Steven or We Got Next, or you can just message us on Twitter if you have any thoughts on that. But I want to go into a lot of the crypto things. So the first thing I want to talk about is a company called Lolly, and they basically reward people for shopping online. So if you shop on shop on Nike, you can end up earning rewards in like Bitcoin. And the big thing about that is they just had their Series A funding where they raised $10 million. And some of the people that were a part of that Series A funding were Chantel Jeffries, who's a YouTuber, and then Logan Paul, who everyone knows about, another YouTuber, and then Baron Davis was a part of that. So when that company, if they decide to go public, when they do, or if they end up creating some sort of cryptocurrency coin, they're going to be set, because this company, a lot of people are starting to learn about. If right now this is a Series A, so you can almost do a Series B, C, D, E, F, however many you want to, for it to be valued at 10 million right now, and they allowed them to take part in it, they're going to be fine. And this is something I talk to a lot of people about, just who is or is not an accredited investor. It's kind of tough because these people already have a lot of money and they're just going to be able to make more money because they had an early opportunity. So that's the first thing. The next thing I want to talk about is congrats to FanZone. So FanZone is in the sports trading cards. They're in the NFT sector, and they just released their first iOS app. So if anyone's out there and they support FanZone or a part of the Luxo community, make sure to check them out as well. Another thing I want to let everyone know about, so there's an investment firm, they're called ProShares, and they just launched their first ETF. So it's their ProShares ETF just launched a mutual fund. That's another big thing. And then there's also an investment firm that's worth $7 billion, and they just invested 10% into Bitcoin. So for anyone out there, 10% of $7 billion is $700 million. So the amount of money that's starting to flow into Bitcoin is starting to be a lot. Congrats to everyone out there that has been holding Bitcoin. It was at 30,000 a couple of days ago, and everyone saw a quick jump up. It went up to 40,000. So it just shows you that a lot of people are starting to buy and hold. The price will probably drop back down a little bit just because it was a quick shot up. And we typically like to see small pullbacks and then moves up, because when it shoots up too fast, it's about to drop some. A big thing I want to talk to you about, Steven, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to get into Patrick Mahomes, which I want to tell you about. But 90% of the people in Singapore have heard about Bitcoin. 40% of the people in Singapore own Bitcoin and some sort of it. So I think that that's a big thing. If you can just imagine, Singapore is not a humongous country. So just imagine if bigger countries, whether it's any of the G6, G7 countries, if they start to invest in it, or they start to have a lot more people in their countries invest in Bitcoin, it'll be huge. And the information I want to tell you is shout out to Mr. Patrick Mahomes. The rich just keep getting richer, because this man invested in Kansas City Royals and now Sporting KC. But it's not just him, because they're trying to make power moves, because his fiance, Brittany, she is now an investor in the Kansas City women's soccer team. So it's a big thing, because they're taking that whole city and trying to become like the face of it, which I do like, but they're putting a hell of a lot into believing in Kansas City. But if you just look at the valuation of the Kansas City Royals over the years, they were valued at, I think, like, let's just say 50 million to start 10 years ago or so. They're valued at over 1.2 billion right now. So congrats to them. I'm pretty sure they won a World Series in there. So that always helps when you end up getting that.
Yeah, I think that was like 2017, I think, or 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it is a big thing you start to see for your city whenever you end up winning a World Series or a championship in any sport, or if you have an MVP there, or you have anyone that makes like the top elite teams in the different leagues. Those are huge awards. So like if you have the most home runs, let's say, that's going to raise the valuation of your city, but also the team. The next thing I want to talk about is the Olympics. So I'll try not to be on this soapbox and talk about it too much, but I have to start by saying I like track. I like watching gymnastics, basketball, soccer. That's all cool. But I honestly think, and anyone can argue with me if they want to, the most grueling sport and the sport that takes the most stamina and energy in the Olympics.
Let me guess.
What?
Water polo.
Hell yes. Like
yo, that shit is unbelievable. So
it's crazy.
So Brooke and I were watching that the other day, and
it wasn't US and South Africa, were you?
No, it was US and Japan, maybe. US and Korea, maybe something like that. And like, yeah, I'm with you. Like we can get into the gymnastic stuff here. But like obviously I'm gonna watch the basketball and like all the stuff that like we're good at that like everybody knows. But I love watching like the obscure sports. Did you know that power walking is an Olympic sport?
Oh yeah. It's
Or
the
like
weirdest sports they have.
Speed walking, maybe something. I think it's speed walking technically. I was
Mhm.
watching like the triathlon. That was some shit. But the water polo, bro.
It's
Like,
wild.
and
You
I
can't
thought,
stand.
well, so I thought it was like a 12-foot, pool. I thought they were like the deep end of a pool. No, bro, it's 6 feet.
It's 6
Like
feet. Yes.
they could like I'm sure most of those guys are
They're
average
tall.
height, 5'11",
Yeah.
probably like 6 feet, above 6 feet. Like I'm sure their feet are like right there, and you can't touch the ground at all.
You're treading, and you have to swim. I remember one time I don't know the exact terminology, but it was basically the goalie. This man had the ball, and he's like treading water, chucks it down the whole pool, and I'm just like, there's no way in hell. Like you're over here using your whole body. Then y'all are racing to get to the other end. And then sometimes you're trying to block it. So you're trying to tread water, block it, then swim, jump. And I'm just like, there's no way. Like in the sports on land, you're using a good amount of your body and energy, but you're using every single limb in your whole body for like water polo.
Well, yeah, and you can stand on land. Like you can't
you can't do that.
And I don't like, and the goalies can't even stand either. Like if they're at the other end, like you got to tread.
Yeah.
And like, and then these guys are like, and these guys are like drowning each other too. When they're like trying to get the ball, they're like dunking each other. Like we used to dunk our siblings back in the day.
Yes.
I just couldn't believe like that takes so much. Like I thought about like when I'm at the pool with my kids and like I got to hold one and like, swim to the deep end with them, like on my back or like hold them. Like I'm tired when I get over there, bro.
Yeah.
I'm also like not the most in shape 29-year-old out there, but like these dudes, and I'm sure the women are the same way. Like that is badass. Like yes. I thought the same thing as like the triathlon. That shit was crazy.
Yes.
It's almost like 2 hours of just like you're swimming and then you're biking and then you're running. Like no.
So the other thing, because there's a lot of Olympic things I want to talk about, but since we're on tough, enduring sports in the pool, I have to congratulate Katie Ledecky. So she won gold in the first 1,500 meter freestyle for the women. And I'm just like, I had to look up how many laps is 1,500 meters. That's 30 times.
Bro, that's a lot.
Back and forth 30 times. There's no way.
No.
Like
that's an unconscious amount of laps in the pool.
Yes. And you can't stop because the person next to you is going to keep going.
Yep.
So I'm like, damn. Then I have to congratulate Lydia Jacoby. She's 17 years old. So she won gold in the 100-meter breaststroke. So that was another big thing. And then going into, I want to know your thoughts on this 3-on-3 basketball.
So I was watching, shout out to the U.S. women's team for bringing home the gold, right? So I was watching, I think the first time I watched it, it was like 2 not very good countries that were playing. It was the men's. And I'm like, and I was watching them for about like 10 minutes, right? Just to like first glance, like, okay, I can get 3 of like my boys who I know are good at basketball, who I've played with, and I can beat these guys. That was my first thought. So I made sure I watched it for like another 10 minutes just to like kind of see if I was just being too harsh. I wasn't. Like some of these countries, bro, that I was watching, like no, I could get 2 of my boys. Like I've never seen you. I've never seen you play ball, so I don't know if you're good or not. But I know 2 boys. I can get my boy Kumar and I can get Jay Hill, and we can go train and we can go practice for like, bro, give me a month. Give us a month to like get in good shape. You're just taking the ball back. It's simple 3-on-3 rules that we play with our boys back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you see like the U.S. women's team. The men's team? We had a men's team, right?
I feel like there was a men's team, but
I never
don't
saw him
even know.
play.
I didn't.
I
I know
saw
they
the
talked
women's
about
team play a lot.
Latvia. They talked about them because the big guy ripped his shoe and he just taped it and just went right back out there.
Yeah, see, for sure. Like I'm definitely being that guy. Speaking of crazy athletes, I was watching the U.S. men's volleyball team, bro.
Mm,
So yeah, there's a lot of dudes
serious.
on the basketball court that can fly. These
Yeah.
guys are like soaring through the air. Like they
Mhm.
are like they're it just looks cool because like the motions that they have
Yes.
to do volleyball, and they're just spiking it so far and so hard into someone's face and just like into the ground, and like the ball just going all over the place, and like the whoever's serving it just launches the ball in the air and just beats that shit right over the net and hits somebody right in the
Hell
face.
yes.
These
They
dudes are
take it
flying,
serious.
bro. These dudes are flying. It's crazy. Like some of these, like, I mean, these are the best athletes in the world, right? Like, I mean, if you want to talk about, we can actually let's do talk about the whole Simone Biles thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'll give you my take on that. Shout out to Simone Biles, right?
Hmm.
Like like she doesn't know anybody anything, you
No.
know. She and I forget who it was. Oh, it was Rich Eisen. Shout out to Rich Eisen and the Rich Eisen show. He was doing some stuff for Peacock Network and calling the Olympics and everything, and he was saying that we need to be there for her, like
Hmm.
she was there for us in 2016
Yeah, she
when she
was.
dominated when she like she especially in gymnastics when like that's one of those sports like we know we should win gold, right? Because like over the years we've had a consistently dominant gymnastics team, and there's other sports where we should dominate. Basketball is one of those sports. Swimming is becoming our sport now, but with that, like with gymnastics, like I just don't think normal, like a casual sports fan who just watches maybe like tennis or basketball or football or baseball, whatever, and doesn't really watch a lot of gymnastics, which I'll be guilty of only watching gymnastics every 4 years. But like I've
Hmm.
watched it enough, and I had some friends who were gymnasts in high school and everything, and like, bro, the average sports fan probably doesn't realize the insanity that goes into like the moves and how they're landing, and like one false like miss of a twist or like not spinning
You're
enough in the air, you're done,
done.
bro.
You're
Done.
done. Like
And
paralysis done.
yeah. And like we don't have to get into all the the super dark history of USA gymnastics. That's not
Yeah.
what we're here to talk about. But like the amount of pressure that Simone Biles has, and not like the entire team, because I heading into the Olympics, I couldn't name another person on the team other than her. The amount of pressure that she has out of any other athlete at the Olympics from the US, like, is like leaps and bounds, literally leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And hey, Simone, if you want to go take a if you want to go take a mental break and take a time out, be my guest. Like,
Hmm.
go for it. Take as long as you want. Take another 4 years if you want to. I don't care.
So what sucks about it, because I was doing research and I also watched a show called The Best Business Show with the Pompliano brothers, and they were talking about how much you make on at the Olympics and compared to like how much gymnasts actually make. So gymnasts, well, we'll just do Simone Biles. Simone Biles doesn't make really any money outside of the Olympics, and she's not making the money from the Olympics. She's making the money from the endorsements based on how she does at the Olympics. And so you kind of win, if you win gold, you win around like $37,000, which is pretty good, like not bad. Imagine like some of these college kids that are going to the Olympics and they win gold, then they go back home to the dorm. And it's just crazy because the amount of pressure she has. Her net worth is only $7 to $8 million compared to Michael Phelps, who gets more endorsement stuff. His net worth is around $80 million, and he's getting the same amount of money from endorsements, but they're just giving so many more to him. Simone Biles has to work her ass off like every single time at the Olympics because this is her income and her livelihood. And then you have the pressure from everybody. And it's kind of the same as Naomi Osaka. Like they're in the same category of so much is on them. But then if they're not great, then everyone's going to point the finger at them. And then it's like they can't even be who they want to be. like I remember Simone Biles when we were all in COVID, she was making videos and stuff, having a great time because she got to be her. But then now it's so much between like anxiety, between the pressure, between just her not being able to enjoy the sport. And when you get to a certain level, the fun is gone for some of these people. And then that's where they start to just fall off because it's not just them enjoying it. They're doing it because everyone else is expecting them just to be good at it. It was cool hearing them say the Biles 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But then when they make her lower down what she's doing so that they can score it better and for it to be like fair, you're like, really? That's really what you have to do.
That's ridiculous. And I saw that there was, I wish I could give credit to whoever said this, but I saw on Twitter that there was someone within the gymnastics community that was talking to former gymnasts about the moves that Simone was doing and like everything that was happening. And they said that, I didn't see when she came off, was it the vault? I think it was that led to her leaving. They said that, because she's so damn athletic and because she's so damn strong and like has like the mental capacity to like just know to, oh shit, I got to spin like another like little bit so I'm not gonna be paralyzed. They're like,
that's so crazy.
If she goes one way on this, most gym, or if not everybody in the gymnastics world other than Simone Biles would at least blow their knee out. Okay. And then like other people would probably be paralyzed because they would not be able to rotate another like fraction of an inch and they would be dead or paralyzed or have a blown knee. But they're like, because she's so damn strong and so damn like mentally strong to like be able to do that and like her muscles and everything, it just makes it crazy. So, but we also, we don't have to go down this path now, but I think with like the mental break and like, mental illness and what, or not mental illness, but like, I'm trying to say, like we got to be careful that it's not like going to start becoming an excuse for everything like down the road. You know what I mean?
So that's something back in school. I won't tell everyone where I worked at, but I dealt with a lot of athletes, but then also just individuals that were in college that had mental and physical disabilities because it is a lot. Like you will have anxiety when it comes to testing. You will have ADD and ADHD and then Asperger's and different things of that nature. And a lot of people judge you for having anxiety and stuff. So they wanted a place to end up going. And you just see that you will have your top athletes. I won't name the names at Old Dominion, but you would have very good football players and basketball players that had to go there because they suffered with either depression or anxiety and things of that nature. But just like Simone and Naomi Osaka, they're announcing it and letting it be known, but then you don't want to take away and everyone's like, yep, I can't do this today, because then it doesn't make Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, or any of these athletes like Kevin Love or DeMar DeRozan feel good to come out about it anymore, because it's like, so you're making it a joke and stuff. And you don't want it to be the same as how Kawhi Leonard will chill, just say for a rest day and stuff. You don't want it to be a similar thing of that nature. It's something that is serious. This can be a whole lifetime conversation to have. So I won't end up doing that. But I'll round out the top 10 for everyone. But Golden State at number 7 picked Jonathan Kuminga. Orlando Magic at number 8 chose, I'm going to get this correctly because Steven will say something, Franz Wagner. And then number 9, the Kings chose Davion Mitchell. And then number 10, Zaire Williams to the Memphis Grizzlies. So Memphis, you can keep drafting things. I don't know how it's going to go for you guys. You guys did very good with John Morant, but you got rid of Jonas Valanciunas. And so that was a big one. He was a great person. I remember he was a part of the whole like Rudy Gay and all those different trades that they had going on with Memphis and Toronto, just like, let's trade people for the hell of it. But before we end up going into a big segment that we want to talk about today, I want to just let everyone know about the whole Amazon supposedly accepting Bitcoin. So what this is Amazon is not accepting Bitcoin yet. They are looking into it. And that shot the market up because they said there are rumors that they're accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and probably like Bitcoin Cash or something like that. They're not doing it yet. They're looking into it. But something that I will speculate and say is Jeff Bezos, I'm pretty sure, either owns some or has a lot of friends in his corner that do own Bitcoin that are probably talking to him and letting him know about the perks and benefits of accepting Bitcoin on Amazon. I can promise you the moment that Amazon or Apple announce they are accepting Bitcoin or they are making payments in Bitcoin, the market's going to shoot up. Like the exact moment they say that, it's going to happen. Only reason because Amazon and Apple are worth trillions of dollars. So you can just imagine what that'll do, and the awareness for Bitcoin will continue to increase. So that's something I want everyone to end up knowing. Currently, right now, Bitcoin is sitting at around $39,000, and then Ethereum is sitting at $2,200, which is very good. And you start to see some money that is moving from the exchanges into cold storage wallets. What that means is that these different individuals or investors are holding on to cryptocurrency for a long time. If the cryptocurrencies are staying on the exchange and they're moving onto the exchange from cold storage wallets, this means that the people are more so either day trading or they're about to sell. And when you see big accounts like that do that, you can either prepare for a move down because people are going to sell, or they're waiting for something within the trend lines. But the reason why we're here today, outside of the NBA draft and everything like that, is Trapper. It's like, no, not Trapper. It is, we are going to talk about the wide receiver position for fantasy sports and football in general. Before we get into that and talk American football, I got to say, shout out to Kylian Mbappe from Paris Saint-Germain. So shout out to him. I know.
I don't know anything you just said, but yeah, shout out.
So everyone that out there that knows him, he plays for the French national team. Very good player. I actually think that he's one of the better athletes that are out there. And I am happy that Kylian is a Black individual in soccer as well. You have a lot of your Latin Americans, you have your good white soccer players, but it's cool to end up seeing them do well. I still will be disappointed with how they treated the English national team Black players, but we don't need to get into that. So Steven, we are going to do 15-8 in American football. And I'm pretty sure because there's so many, we're not going to have a similar one, which is good because I like when we do have differences so we can end up talking about them. And just a heads up to everyone, in probably late August or early September, when we set up our draft, Steven and I'm going to work with 2 other people in the league. We will do a live draft so that we can end up hearing our thoughts on each of the picks. We'll probably maybe do 7 or 8 because doing the whole damn draft, that's a long ass time. We go on.
No one wants to hear that. No one wants to listen to us for that long, dude. No.
I don't even want to listen to myself do it.
I don't
go on simulation.
No.
But start with your 15.
Real quick though, more breaking news in the sports world, which we talked about this before we came on. The Dodgers are finalizing a deal to acquire. This is huge, bro. This is huge. This is big. Dodgers are finalizing a deal to acquire Max Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Nationals. Also today, I saw the Yankees are getting Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs, and they also got Joey Gallo. Yes. So looks like both those teams are trying to buy their way into another title. Which, if you can both of them, if you can do it, you might as well do it. So, we'll get into that.
I'll just say that. Let me comment on that because it brings up what I went to yesterday. I'll be super quick. So when it comes to the Yankees, I'm a Yankees fan because I was born in New York. But whenever people bring up, oh, who's your favorite team? I don't always like to say it because the way the Yankees got their championships is not like how most teams got theirs. Legit, the king and queens of winning championships with money are the Yankees. If you look at the taxes and everything, because when it's no cap and you're just the biggest market out there, people go there. But the other thing I was talking to Steven about was, so one of my jobs, I work with different camp kids and stuff. And we had, I won't say where I am, but Max Scherzer's daughter was in one of the camps. Steven was like, well, she ain't going to be there no more. So that was the other thing. Just wanted to end up letting everyone know about. Then the final thing, I just want to let everyone know about. So shout out, it's my VPN. If you end up seeing me stop, I'm in Greece right now. But if anybody knows or follows baseball in depth, so I went to go see Adley Rutschman from the Baltimore Orioles, like one of the top prospects. He was playing in the minor league, so he plays for the Bowie Bay Sox. We ended up seeing the Richmond Squirrels. So the Richmond Squirrels or Flyers, they had Jacob Hayward, who is Jason Hayward's brother. And then just watching Adley. Adley plays first base and catcher. You can tell even in the minors, they always say in sports, you know who's about to go pro. The way the ball just hits off the bat when Adley hit compared to the rest, he went 1 for 3. But like you could tell even when Ben Simmons was at LSU, you can kind of tell they're different. But when he hit it, first time it was a foul. Second time, Joint hit a home run. It was a 2-run homer. And it was one of those, like, not just a regular one. It was kind of like, damn, he is an 8.1 million signing bonus man that just hit that. And then it was cool because you can see the same with like Jacob Hayward. But that's my little minor league talk. Just wanted to give them a shout out there.
Speaking of baseball, actually, and getting that cash. So I talked about this like a month ago. Penn State had a commit for Lonnie White Jr. Out of Malvern Prep in the Philly area. He got drafted by the Pirates. I think 60. He was like 60 or 70th overall, something like that.
They got
right? And
so
he had
many picks in baseball.
Yeah, and he had but he was like a second round pick. He was at one point he was listed as like a top 50 prospect. So the kid's really good. So he signed to Penn State, and the big thing was like, is he going to sign with the Pirates? He got drafted by the Pirates. Is he going to sign with them? He had until I think August 1st to sign, either make a decision. Sign with the Pirates, so he's not going to be coming to Penn State, at least not right now. Which like I can't blame him because like he's going to get like over $1 million.
Yeah,
as a 17, 18-year-old. So like, I mean, if I was 17, 18, like I'm not gonna pass that up. So my hope is that like he goes to the minors, does this thing for a little bit, 21, 22, comes to Penn State, has some eligibility left, wins a national title, life is good. So that's my hope.
Be like, he could do it like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson were doing when they were doing both. It takes so much just hearing about the stories of how they played both sports, or even like Deion Sanders when he would do it. It's wild stuff. I don't bring MJ into that category because he wasn't doing it the same way they were, but it's just wild. But I'll let you get back into your choices.
Yeah. All right. So you said we're doing 15-8.
So we're doing 15-8. I have some honorable mentions in mind. So if you have honorable mentions, you can bring them up too.
What are we doing 7-1 next week?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going through this, and
you can break down as much as you want when you're doing this.
Honestly, I don't even know what I was even doing when I was putting these names on this list. I don't know if it's because I was sick or like I just like looked at the receiver list. I looked at like the top 100 list and just was like, I don't even know where to even begin. Like there's so many good receivers out there.
Receivers is deep. Yes.
So, all right, like I'm just gonna buzz through these real quick. And again, same thing like I mentioned with the tight ends. Like, how much do I trust the quarterback? Granted, there's obviously gonna be more options for receivers on the field than tight ends and everything. So take it for what it's worth. 15, I got Jamar Chase.
Okay.
Number 14, I got Chase Claypool.
Okay.
13, I got Devontae Smith. 12, I got Juju Smith-Schuster. 11, I got Amari Cooper. Number 10, I got Julio Jones, who has some off the field issues going on right now as well.
Julio.
We can. Yeah, you got look that up yourself.
Damn.
Number 9, I got Chris Godwin. Number 8 is very low for number 8. I got Tyreek Hill. And number 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can't be doing PPR at the rate you're talking. You're doing
no. I mean, my 7 through, like, I can easily take out any of the guys probably in my number 7 through 1 and put Tyreek Hill in there. I think that's probably like.
Don't spoil it.
No, I'm saying that's probably the most like glaring admission from the top. My top 5, probably top 3, I guess would be Tyreek Hill. But like, with Juju and Claypool, how much do I trust Ben Roethlisberger this year? Obviously I'm being a Steelers fan. Like, I follow what's going on in training camp. Where training camp is, he's doing good, Roethlisberger. But he also got Najee Harris. So like it's a young back out of college who prove that he can tote the rock. So they're obviously gonna give it to him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You got Eric Ebron, a tight end, who's healthy, healthy this year. You got Pat Frymuth from Penn State, shout out, who's
shout out.
also turning a lot of heads and in training camp. So like there's a lot going on with that Steelers offense, but it all hinges obviously on Roethlisberger. So we'll see how that goes. Devontae Smith. I put Jamar Chase in there because I know what him and Joe Burrow can do.
Yeah.
But the Bengals still don't have a good offensive line. So like how many times is he can actually get the ball? Very hit or miss with that. Devontae Smith, I think they're going to force feed him the ball a lot. I think that, they also have, they have Ertz, they have Goddard, Ertz with his blonde hair now. So, but they're gonna just, it's Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith again. Another set of college and receiver, college teammates, quarterback and receiver teammates. So like they're obviously gonna throw him the ball. He's a great receiver. I'm hoping he puts on a little bit of weight, but
he needs to.
And Julio, Julio is Julio. He's getting a little older, but still Julio. They have AJ Brown. But they have Derrick Henry as well. So like, and again,
it leans on Tannehill.
Right. And how much do I trust Ryan Tannehill? Not a lot. Chris Godwin, the Bucks have Mike Evans. They have Gronk. Do they still have Antonio Brown? Is he still on the team?
Yeah.
They brought him back. So, Godwin's going to get his catches and his numbers, but not going to be top 5 numbers probably. It's probably going to go to Mike Evans. Amari Cooper. How much do I trust Dak Prescott? The Cowboys seem to be trending in the right direction. So, I mean, if Dak is healthy, he got his contract. There's a lot of expectations, obviously, with Zeke being, seeming in really good shape. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a pretty solid top 8, or top 7 right there, I guess. Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's that's probably gonna be the one that I look back on like, damn, that was a really bad move to have him at number 8. Again, like any of the guys in my top 7, I can probably take out of there and put at number 8 and put him in there. But what do you got?
So before we continue with this is something that Steve and I will hold on throughout the year, just to end up looking at it. It's one of those things that Steven and I have done fantasy sports and also watched football for a long time. And when you hear how we talk about either the quarterback, receiver, running back, tight end, we come at it from 2 different angles. We're seeing the field, but we will look at different receivers. And sometimes Steven's right, sometimes I'm right. And the thing I'm saying with this is Steven and I chose 2 different Steelers players at different areas. What's crazy is I have Steelers players in mine, and I don't have one Eagles player in my top 15. But I'll go with the notable mentions. So I had Jamar Chase in there just because of him and Joe Burrow. That's a connection that they have. Another notable mention I had was DJ Moore. I don't know what's going to happen with Sam Darnold or a random guy off the street, so you don't really know. But then if Christian McCaffrey's healthy, if you ever watch games when Christian McCaffrey was healthy, those receivers didn't get it as much. So it was when Christian McCaffrey wasn't healthy that they end up getting it more. Then one of the receivers is out of there. I forget which one it is. It was he went to Washington. But so then the other thing is Rashad Bateman, wide receiver in Baltimore. It depends. Lamar Jackson does need another weapon. So you saw what they tried to force feed Dez at times when it came to the red zone, but then also you just need somebody else that's there. Hollywood Brown is small, so he's not able to take on as much. Another notable mention was Jalen Waddle that I did put up there just because who knows how he's going to be after injury. But going into mine, so number 15 is someone that I've always liked. In the beginning, when I would do like fantasy sports and watch San Diego, he got injured a lot. But I think him and Justin Herbert will do well together. So Keenan Allen, I had at number 15. Yeah. So.
Golly, bro. Oh, my God. Come on, dude. He's going to be so pissed if he hears this.
Well, if you hear everybody else, he might be understanding. But so he finished outside of the top 15 in actual stats. That's the crazy thing. But him and Herbert had a great connection, and it's the second year. So that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. It's a new coach that's there too, but he had 147 targets with 100 receptions and 8 touchdowns in the first year with Herbert. So 14, Steven had Amari Cooper. I have CeeDee Lamb. And so I had Cooper at 11.
I had Claypool at 14, but you have who do you have at 14?
No, I said I have CeeDee Lamb. You have Cooper in your top 15.
Oh yeah,
I have
yeah.
CeeDee Lamb in
Okay.
mine. And if you watched any of the training camps, he's over there
Yeah.
doing
Yep.
like one-handed catches too.
Yep.
And it's just, you can always see that second year leap. So that's the thing I kind of base this on. At number 13, I have the one Steven always chooses whenever we do fantasy sports, Allen Robinson. And I was
guy.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh my God, dude.
So they got Mr. Ohio State there at quarterback, but then I don't know if they're going to start him or not. So that's the other thing I'm always trying to figure out, who the coaches are going to choose to start. But Robinson had 151 targets, and I start to look at this after the year, and 102 receptions. Number 12, I had Chase Claypool, and he is very similar to Robert Tonyan in the sense that when they had great games, they had touchdowns and great games. But I think Claypool's going to step it up a lot this year. They're going to
I'm gonna stop you real quick. I completely forgot about Allen Robinson.
I know you did. I know.
So I'm scratching off someone right now, and I'm putting Allen Robinson in there. Okay, so there we go. I just put Allen Robinson in my top 7. So there's one of them at least.
Wow. See?
Yeah. All right.
So Claypool last year, just for everyone out there, he had 109 targets and he had 62 receptions with 9 touchdowns. Like I said, his touchdowns are like Tunyan's touchdowns. It wasn't like spread out. It would be like, bro, where the hell did this man come from with like a bajillion fantasy points and just good stats? So I think another year with him there, and he's tall too. I think he's the one. He's not Notre Dame, is he?
Yep.
Yeah. So I had him at 12. Number 11, people judge it, but Tyler Lockett I had there because I think
most underrated receiver in the league.
Yes, a lot of people do not realize it.
And yeah, I say that because like being a kind of like pick'em Seahawks fan over the last handful of years, obviously, I've just watched their games, and he's the most underrated. Probably the most underrated player in the league. Because people just don't care because he's so small. They think he's just a kick returner, but he's so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's from Kansas State, I think.
Yep.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So he had 132 targets and had 100 receptions and 10 touchdowns. And you still got the man on the other side, but we'll talk about him later. Then at number 10, I had Adam Thielen. So I don't know. It's one of those things that
shout out to the white receivers.
Yeah, I know. Shout out. But it was crazy because you had Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. They clearly chose Adam Thielen over Stephon Diggs just because everything, I guess, they felt Stephon Diggs was doing. But there's another person that you'll start to hear of later on in our, at least my choices, that kind of stepped it up when Thielen wasn't there. But Thielen had 108 targets, 74 receptions, and 14 touchdowns. And he makes his bread and butter off of those touchdowns. Number 9, I had A.J. Brown. So I had A.J. Brown up there because whether Julio's there or not, A.J. Brown stepped it up. They had him and Corey Davis out of there, Jonnu Smith out of there, but they kept A.J. Brown. So I had him at 9. And then number 8, I went with the combo. Something people start to realize is I'll analyze it, but just like with the tight ends, I chose Henry and Smith at number 8 because they have Stafford now too. And I don't know which one is going to be the better one, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, because they both did well. Yeah.
So I'm going to interrupt you again. I need to redo my entire top 15. Because I think, like I said before I even started, like, I don't know what I was doing or like what I was even putting down here, because I think I was doing it when I was like, was all over the place. This guy and his VPN. I was like peak sickness when I was doing this list. So like, there's so many players that like, as you're saying some of the stuff, I'm just completely like Justin Jefferson, right? That's his name. Dude from Minnesota. Nowhere to be found. Allen Robinson was nowhere to be found.
What?
like right? Like what? Like, and I'm looking at my top.
John Brown and people.
So all right. So look, next week I'm gonna redo my entire list. It's gonna be completely different. So after you're done, I'm gonna do my 7 through 1 just to tell you what that looked like. So finish. So you had so you're going with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp at number 8. That's crazy.
So I look at that because when it was Marvin Jones and then they had Kenny Galladay, Matthew Stafford loves to sling the ball. That's given, but he also didn't have a running back. They kind of have some running backs in LA. Shout out to how they did Todd Gurley, called him out for his knee injury and he was gone and he has not been the same since. but they will sling it in LA. It's also, he was in a dome, now he's outside. And it's one of those things that I think Matthew Stafford should have a decent year. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs or not, but those two I think will do well. Cooper Kupp has been injured at times. Robert Woods has been consistent. He was in Buffalo before, and once he's come to LA, he's been consistent. They had the trio that I thought would do really well with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and then Brandon Cooks. Cooks just gets injured a lot, and he's balling out though in Houston. I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be like. But yeah, so I have them at the duel. And then 7 through 1, that'll be interesting to see, because I promise you ours will not be the same no matter what.
Yeah, no shit, not anymore. Oh, I'm gonna give you my 7 through 1, because like I said, next week is gonna be completely different, because I was peak sickness when I did this. So let's go with this. So I'll just run through my top 15 through 8 again. I had Jamar Chase, Chase Claypool, Devontae Smith, Juju, Amari Cooper, Julio, Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill, right? Number 7, Stephon Diggs. Respectable, right?
That's disrespectful for what he just did.
Number 6, your boy Keenan Allen.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Number 5, Mike Evans.
Dang,
okay. Number 4, I scratched it out. I had OBJ.
So I had him, but I don't really know how that season's going to go.
Right. So it's the same with it's, you can put, Jarvis Landry on there as well. He can be on this list as well as a top 15 guy. But number 3, I think the top 3 it's debatable, but maybe just what order they're in. Number 3, I had DK.
Yeah, he has to be.
I think he's just like climbing the ladder. I think soon he'll be number 1. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins. I think, a full season last year with Kyler Murray, this year, I think they're about to explode. And number 1, I think most people have him, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, pay that man.
So like my top 7 isn't egregious, but I think I'm missing Jefferson probably. Robinson is a top 5 receiver, and I think having a legit quarterback, as much as I dislike Justin Fields, I think I think now I'll probably start to like him, because he's gonna be tossing the ball to A-Rob a lot. But I think having a legit quarterback, I think that'll help him a lot. But I'm gonna redo this entire top 15 because this is dog shit. I'm embarrassed because you know me, I'm better than this.
I was
this is a poor effort.
This man put Cooper in there, and then I was like, he's choosing a lot of young players. Where's CeeDee Lamb? Where is Justin Jefferson? I was like, all right, I guess so.
I put Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith on this list over both those guys.
Yeah, I know. I was like, they wouldn't even want to hear this. They would definitely question it. So next time we'll do your whole top 15, and then I'll do my 7 to 1. So before we do shout outs, we have a section that we'll start to try and do more often. It'll be called For the Culture. So we want to start this segment off by talking about, what shoe did you have? And this will be the thing for today. Which shoe was the one shoe you remember growing up that you had or you wanted? I know we texted about this.
I would say the one shoe that I had, when I was a kid, that I really loved, I had the Iversons, the black, the red, gray, and the white, and the Barclays. I had the Pippins as well, which got stolen, like I told you, which still don't know where those are. Still don't know who stole them. Shout out to that person who has them.
Shout out.
But I think those were the Iversons. I think everybody at our age, we all wanted those.
Yeah.
I was a big Nike guy growing up. Obviously, being a Penn State fan, it was all Nike. But basketball shoes were just different. I eventually wanted to, when I had money in college, I eventually wanted to be able to buy the Space Jams. And I did so. I'll tell you the story real quick. So there was a thrift shop type of thing that students and anybody really who lived in State College would go to this place. It was called Plato's Closet, and they'd go sell their clothes. And they would, I'm sure most towns, college towns have a place like this.
Yeah.
They go and, give like polo shirts or like, expensive clothing, and they sell it at like crazy discounted rates. Right. So my buddy went there one time and saw a pair of Space Jams, and I wouldn't consider myself a sneakerhead back in the day, but like, shoes like that, you got to verify them with someone either that, is a sneakerhead or whatever. So, I went down to this thrift shop, Plato's Closet, and I went and looked at them and I examined them, and I sent a picture to some buddies, and they were like, through the pictures, they all said that they look real. So those can retail for 200 to 400 bones, depending on when they're being released.
Yeah.
So I got them for like, I think it was $100. Got it for $100. And I wore them to a party. I was still in college. I wore them to a party that weekend. It was the freshest fit I ever wore in college. Like everything matched. Everything matched. I went and got a fresh cut. Like everything was good. Like I had the good cologne on. Everything was going right. Everything was good. I was at a party, chilling. This table was in front of us. I was sitting on the couch. This girl was dancing on the table, right? And she was smacked out of her mind. She took one step, and she had heels on. They were about yay big. And she took one step down, and her heel went through the bottom part, like the tip of the shoe, the space between the patent leather and the bottom, the little gap. It went right through it. She was ruined. I still have the shoes, but the shoe was, that was it. I had him for 3 days. I had him pristine. I was sick. I still have the shoes, like I said, because I'm probably never gonna get rid of them because they're Space Jams. But like, I was beyond sick. But yeah, those were all the shoes that I wanted, and I eventually got, which was dope. So I was very happy with those.
So a lot of people that know me, I consider myself, even though Steven jokes around because I have dad shoes at times, but I will be a sneakerhead. And so shout out to all my sneaker communities that end up watching this. But so I remember growing up, I don't know. So my dad liked Marshalls. So I was like, all right, like I can't shop anywhere else. Let me just go to Marshalls. I would try and find the flyest thing at Marshalls. You can't find fly shoes.
Shout out to your dad though. That is respect. I used to love that place.
Yes. And you would always have the shoes up front. So one time I saw these Fat Farm shoes. They were white, and then they had the orange and white laces. I was like, yo, these are the coolest things ever.
Bro, you are ruining the culture. You are ruining the culture.
And the only person that thought these shoes were really cool was my band teacher. He was like, those are really cool.
I'm out. I'm done.
And so the band teacher was like, yo, they're really cool. So I said, all right, maybe they're okay. But then when you have your family and other people like, why are you wearing these Fat Farm shoes? So I stopped wearing the Fat Farm shoes. But then as I continued in like middle school and high school, I never got them, and I always wanted them. So there were two. I always wanted the Nike Shock Bombers. A lot of times people had the Nike Shocks, but the Nike Shock Bombers, like the shocks across the bottom. Yep. And there was the black and blue ones that I really wanted, never got them. Then the other ones that I always saw were really cool. So Tracy McGrady, I don't know if you guys remember, the T-Max, where one side was just straight the color, the other side had the lines just all the way down. It's like, yo, these are kind of fire. So those were the ones I really liked, the ones I ended up getting, and it used to be my Twitter handle. So I love the Jordan 18s, like all of them. I could end up collecting any of them, would be fine. Of course, they always get damaged because I'll be the one to buy them off eBay, have them for like a year or two. You go play with the kids in camp, they're ruined. Like they're just done. So those are ones I really liked, and ones that I'm gonna work whatever it takes for me to get them. So the foam pods, the Nike foams, the Oregon Duck ones. So they have like the Oregon Ducks, they're valued at over like $1,000. So it'll take me some time. If anyone out there knows how to get them, let me know. But so
PJ Tucker, where's your plug out, my guy? Where is the plug?
He gets Giannis's shoes before Giannis.
Like, how does that work? Like who do you know?
Yeah.
what are you doing that none of us else are doing? Like, how do you get a shoe before Giannis gets a shoe? Like
His
that
own
get
shoe,
his
like-
own shoe, bro. It's his shoe. He's like
gonna give it to him before. So, but that's the segment for today with For the Culture. Before we end up going, what you got for the people?
shout out to Shohei Ohtani, hit number 37. I was looking at the pace he's on. I don't know what he's projected to hit this year in terms of home runs, but I was looking at where he was compared to where Barry Bonds was, just for shits and giggles. I think Bonds was like only 4 or 5 home runs ahead of him. They have the same amount of hits, I believe. And I think Shohei has either a little more or like right behind him in terms of RBI. So like he's like, not keeping pace per se, but he's right there. So I really hope he ends up over 50, which would be pretty incredible. So shout out to Shohei Ohtani for hitting number 37.
Yeah. They're going to start checking him like every single day, just randomly, like, do you do steroids? Half the time you're going to be like, I don't even know what this stuff is. Because a lot of them don't. It's more so an American thing and some like Latin Americans. I don't think you saw like Ichiro or Daisuke Matsuzaka. None of them were the ones you're like, oh, yep, they're doing the roids or anything.
Baseball needs steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, shout out the rain today. But so my shout outs is not a lot, but I want to shout out 2 of my good buddies on Twitter. So one is Crypto Fundamentals. If you want, you can follow him. Another one is Chuck 8ville. So you can find him at hathor.chuck. 2 really good people that they give a lot of threads and information out there too. I give that information to a lot of my different clients that are out there. But the other ones that I want to just end up shouting out is shout out to Quant Network and then Unizen and Utu. So we had Utu on the show with Mike Chen, but you're starting to see a lot of growth out of these different companies and their price is starting to reflect it. So I want to just give good kudos to them. Quant Network is now listed on Binance, which is why the price shot up. Yesterday, when it first got announced, it was sitting at around $98. And now the price for one Quant token is at $135 the last time I checked. So it's something that if you can time the market right and you can watch it sun up to sundown, which is what I do, you can make a good amount of money if you want to end up doing it that way. But that's everything for today. So thank you all for listening, watching, subscribing. VPN will be off next time, so you don't have to worry about it. It won't be so there was a bad storm for everyone out there, I guess like the past 2 days.
Yeah.
And like, so I work in a certain part in Virginia and a lot of the big ass houses out of there, some of them had a branch like go through and destroy the roof. So they had flooding. In my area, we're on the outskirts of the city. So we have a lot of cable lines that run across. So like when those get hit, you're done. Or if like everyone's like on it, then you're done. So it's one of those things that we haven't had a bad rainstorm to that extent in a minute. We've had rain and stuff, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, we got a lot of tornado watches coming through today, around like the 4 or 5 o'clock hour. And I think there was, I don't know, like if one ever touched down or there was anything ever reported, but it looked like there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. So that's everything today. Make sure to watch next week. Steven will give his updated fantasy picks. We have an interview coming up next week, so make sure to stay tuned. Just look at our Twitter that we have that. And I want to just shout out to one of my partners that are out there. So Gem Seekers, that group is an amazing group that we end up trying to provide enough cryptocurrency content out there. But that's all the shout outs today because I took up the whole time with shout outs. We'll catch you later. Shout out Cade Cunningham and the Pistons.